You see how rich it is in greens? Watch what'll start to happen. I'm going to use this hibiscus acetosella. It's an amazing foliage plant. It does flower. You will not see the flowers though.
Yeah.
But it becomes this wonderful, big specimen. But just watch. I will eventually plant them, but watch what's going to begin to happen. See that pop there?
It does make a
We're
difference.
going to add a pop here because this is going to come up through. And we're going to add another pop here. And then I'll just show you. I will repeat those pops with Alternanthera. Love, love, love this plant. And just creating a little bit of an echo right there.
Oh, nice.
All right. But come back because you'll see other things. You got to get these in the planter first.
Scaevola, which is commonly known fan flower. What's so great about the Scaevola and the lantana is they're extremely heat tolerant. So, you know, in the heat of July,
Yeah.
they'll really continue to thrive. It's like candy.
It's so colorful.
I love them. The size, the shape, everything is perfect for these pedestals.
The color of yours. See, I'm not as colorful.
It's like a candy shop over
It really is. Not only for color, but for visitors too. The ageratum, the
Yeah.
petunias, the lantanas. No, Scaevola.
Scaevola.
I was going to say celosia.
So I was
Hope you
just-
didn't get that my error on tape there.
I was just saying that with the lantana and the Scaevola, we find a lot of landscapers or town baskets are going to have these items in them because they just thrive in July and August. When if you're not feeding enough on your petunias or calibrachoas, they tend to look a little bit rougher because they're super hungry.
Yes,
Yeah.
And I just love how they both fill in. They
Yes.
fill in those spots,
Yeah.
which can be
They
very
just
important.
play with everything and spread out, so it's going to
Look
be
how clean you are. Oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed.
putting in an honest effort on that today. I have a few plants left over and it might look a little sparse right now, but everything I've put in here is going to be robust and really fill this.
Yeah.
So as we go through the summer, like in 2 weeks, you probably won't see soil anymore. And then in a month from now, you're going to get the height from the salvia. Everything's going to fill in. It's going to be so stunning. So come on down to TBG and vote for your favorite planter this summer and not Paul's. I'm going to Snoop.
Typically, I say don't buy long and lanky. These came from Niagara College. It's one of the new salvia gardenicas with the big flowers, the hummingbirds and the bees. But I actually pulled them because of that kind of wackiness, because I think I can use that shape in the planter themselves.
Absolutely.
So,
Because the Gumfrina's got some height to it. I love
Yes.
these. What I say, they remind me of a Dr. Seuss book. You've got this little pop, like a ping pong ball size of color. I love it.
but I've never used it in a container before.
Me either.
So let's see. And that's one of the things I will say about this industry is, gosh, you never stop learning.
This Alternanthera purple prince I love because as it gets movement in the container, as you can see underneath, you have this vibrant purple color. I absolutely love this, and it's in all my containers at home.
That's
love
why I
it.
picked it.
It just
I
plays
never thought of
well.
that. I did never thought of
So
that.
that I love that the underneath of the foliage is just as beautiful as the top. So when the wind hits it, it gets dimensional. It's beautiful.
I'm finding that with some of the coleus, the undercut surface of the foliage is really quite neat, especially if you elevate them. So,
But all the new breeding that's going into coleus, those coleus read your tag. I'm telling you, most of them work in both full sun, full shade, part sun, part shade. They're fantastic. Like we have one in the beds over here that's called Adobe Pink. That'll thrive in full sun all summer long, and that pink color is going to stay super vibrant. So coleus is awesome.
sure.
I think it's about balance. 'Cause I love foliage too.
Okay.
But you give me a big, robust pink bloom, I'm all over that too.
Oh, right. I was mentioning earlier, one thing I like to do with some of my plants is I like to give them a haircut before. I'm not going
I
to do
just
that as
did
much.
that.
Did you do it? I usually do it, but I thought with this, I want it to look pretty good. But
Yes.
yeah, I typically take almost all of the flowers. Like something like this, I will strip the whole thing.
So what we should do is tell people why we're doing that. So we're doing that
Good point.
so that now that we've planted it, we've massaged the roots, we don't want any more energy going to those open blooms. We want energy to go into the body of the plant. We want that plant to now produce more buds, grow in size and vigor. So we just take a little trim off of the plants so that they will do that. It's very, very important that you at home do that with your containers. I do it twice a summer. So at the end of June, everything's getting a haircut, and then at the end of July, everything gets a haircut again. And I mean, my kids have a heart attack because I do a drastic.
Right.
Anything with a petunia or calibrachoa in it, I go hardcore haircut.
And you just restore their vigor, right? You get that
It comes
wonderful
back
bounce back
stronger,
from them.
better.
For sure. I do
Because-
find people will say, you often plant a little bit densely, and I will
I
admit.
do
And
too.
in this case here, of course, we're doing it kind of for that instant show, but I am not scared to go in and say, you know what, I don't need you here. I'll give you a little bit of a haircut
Yeah.
here and there, for sure.
I think I might take. Are you gonna use all of these?
I would like to say yes, but you know the answer to that. No. But
I think I
I
might.
think grown so well. I was saying, when I go to a growers and whenever I'm looking, like, look at the branching from the bottom. It's a good sign of a quality grown plant. Don't get caught up in this. Get caught up in what's down here in this wonderful, wonderful branching.
And what I would say is a lot of home gardeners do struggle with Bidens. And I think the reason why is because Bidens will dry out quickly. So when
Yes.
you're planting a container, I can't speak for Paul, but what I always tell people is you're either going to water first thing in the morning, like 6 a.m. I go out, I give everything a really good drink. The Bidens might dry out throughout the day. That's how much moisture they're going to take up. So you might need to give them another sprinkle in July at the end of the day. Because
point.
if they start to dry out to exactly what Paul just did, give them a really healthy haircut so that no more energy goes up here and energy goes down here. You just have to be mindful and read your tags when you are shopping at the garden center to check your water requirements of your plants and fertilize.
Yes, because they get hungry.
But
like
do
in
you
the
feed
ground.
your kids?
Yeah. Or yourself. Sometimes I forget that. What I've also found is when I go around people and looking at their containers, it's often they're suffering of drought, but they say, I water. But I find people fill their containers often right to the top with media. So when you put water, it runs right over. So when I'm done, I usually like to do, and I don't have a term for this. You're creative, come up with it. I call it, where you're making the pie crust, doing that tucking
you're
in.
doing the tuck.
Yeah, just so that you leave a little bit of a lip. So when you add water, it fills up and it's forced to go down as opposed to out. Water is a precious resource. We need to conserve and conserve all that we can.
And I see at home, because I am on top of it or my children are on top of it when I'm traveling, my hanging baskets, I water until water's coming out the bottom.
Good point, for sure.
But if you are in the habit of not watering every day, what might happen is that soil is so densely dry that you might just be watering and water's coming out the bottom and it's not being absorbed.
It actually repels the water.
So what I tell people, feel the weight. Put your hand under your hanging basket and feel the weight. If I can lift it like that, you haven't watered enough.
That is an inspiration.
Nice.
The first job I had at a greenhouse, I watered. The owner at that time, dear friend, miss him dearly, and he walked through and he says, no, you didn't. And he just did it. And he was 6'6". I'm not. But he just went like this and says, I think you need to do another application.
More
Excellent,
water.
excellent point.
Another thing I see is when I'm going through visiting different growers, is growers counting, right? So they're watering the bench. They've got their wand.
Oh.
1, 2,
Right.
3, 4, 5.
Yes.
No, this is not watered.
Yes.
No.
Oh, they look like you're conducting an orchestra. When we used to have people at the garden center, like the most important job, water thoroughly. So here's a good case where I would have liked to actually have watered this a little bit before planting it. But we're going to give it a good drink once we get it done. And this is one of the plants I love to use. You're looking at it. It is curly leaf parsley. Yes. I like to use it in containers because just as Tanya and I said, we like to bring in all sorts of pollinators. Parsley is really good because it attracts swallowtail butterflies. Don't worry. You can still eat it. Just when you go to harvest it, leave the caterpillar on the plant.
Yeah.
Please.
And it adds another texture.
It really does. And I actually plant it sideways, so it's going to look really bizarre. And people are like, you're a professor of horticulture, right? But it'll start to grow up, and then gravity pulls it down, so it actually looks like it's trailing.
It's
So
gonna be kind of scary.
we'll
I'm going to
see
go
that.
plant these 2 Bidens in.
All right.